The colony of Epsilon Prime had been a shining example of human perseverance in the galaxy. For over 30 years, settlers had made the distant planet their home. Its rolling green plains, sparkling blue oceans, and gentle mountains were unlike anything in the Sol system. Humanity had built schools, hospitals, research centers, and communities where families laughed and children ran freely. It was more than a settlement. It was a dream made real. Captain Mara Vey had spent the last decade watching over the colony's defense systems. She was not just a soldier, she was a protector of hope. Mara often reminded the Council and the settlers that the galaxy was not a peaceful place. Other civilizations are out there, she warned. Not all of them will welcome us. We must be ready. Most people smiled and nodded, thinking such threats were far away. But Mara never relaxed. She had seen reports from other human colonies, some thriving, some attacked. The weight of responsibility never left her. One calm morning, the sky over Epsilon Prime erupted in a flash of light. At first, people thought it was a meteor or some rare cosmic phenomenon. Then the shadows appeared, ships unlike any humans had ever seen, sleek and angular, moving with perfect precision. Mara's warning system screamed. Alarms blared throughout the colony. Her heart pounded as she tried to rally the defense drones. But it was clear immediately. The intruders were far more advanced. The aliens attacked without hesitation. Blue energy beams sliced through the skies, cities vanished in flames, and oceans boiled where the weapons struck. Farms and fields, carefully nurtured for decades, turned to ash in moments. The screams of terrified settlers filled the air. Parents called out for children, children cried for their parents, and Mara's own hands shook as she tried to coordinate the defenses. Every effort seemed hopeless. Amid the chaos, Mara gathered a small group of survivors. Old men and women clutched each other. Young soldiers tried to organize a defense, and children hid behind anything that could shield them. "We can't give up," Mara shouted, her voice breaking but strong. "We are human, we survive, we fight." They scrambled to escape shuttles, dodging falling debris and flames. Many ships were destroyed before they could even lift off. But a handful managed to leave the burning planet, racing through the void of space. The survivors drifted in silence for hours, staring at the distant glow of their destroyed home. The once vibrant colony now lay in ruins, a smoldering memory of what had been. Tears ran silently down many faces. Some whispered prayers, others swore vengeance. Mara held her own grief tightly, feeling the weight of loss and the burning need for justice. In the quiet, a sense of determination began to grow. Humanity might be scattered, but it was not defeated. Mara looked at the survivors, their faces pale with fear but glimmering with resolve. "We will not forget this," she said, softly, "and we will not forgive." Every eye met hers, silently promising to carry that message back to Earth. As the shuttles drifted farther from Epsilon Prime, Mara began plotting the course ahead. Humanity's fleet, their technology, their ingenuity, they would be weapons of retribution. Somewhere out there, Earth would hear of this atrocity. Humanity would answer. The galaxy would witness the strength and fury of a species that refused to be erased. And in that silent void of space, amid grief and loss, a fire was lit. A fire that would grow, unstoppable, until the day humanity struck back. The survivors of Epsilon Prime drifted through the blackness of space, their small shuttles trembling with the weight of loss and fear. The wreckage of their home glowed faintly in the distance, a painful reminder of everything they had lost. Mara Vey sat at the helm of the lead shuttle, her hands gripping the controls, her jaw tight with anger and determination. Around her, the survivors were silent, some staring into space, others hugging each other for comfort. Every heart carried the same thought: humanity had been wronged. Communication with Earth was spotty, but Mara managed to send a single message. A plea for help and a record of the massacre. She described the alien ships, their devastating firepower, and the total annihilation of the colony. Every word felt heavy on her tongue, but she knew the message had to get through. Somewhere across the stars, people would hear of Epsilon Prime, and humanity would respond. Days passed as the shuttles navigated toward the nearest human outpost. Mara spent every moment planning. "We can't fight them head-on with these ships," she said to her remaining crew. "But we can study them, learn their weaknesses, and prepare. Humanity doesn't give up. We never do." The crew nodded, their faces pale but resolute. Mara's words ignited a spark of courage in their hearts. Even in the shadow of destruction, hope could take root. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the news of Epsilon Prime spread like wildfire. Earth's government convened immediately. Military strategists, scientists, and politicians pored over the data Mara had sent. Humanity's fleets had expanded steadily over decades, but this was different. The aliens had committed an act that could not go unanswered. Every human world, every colony, now felt the tension. The call for action was unanimous. Humanity would strike back, and it would be decisive. Back on the shuttles, Mara worked tirelessly. She organized the survivors, instructing them in emergency drills, weapon handling, and fleet coordination. Even the youngest soldiers, barely old enough to hold a blaster, were trained to fight and survive. Mara reminded them that they were no longer just survivors. They were the spark of vengeance. They carried the memory of everyone lost on Epsilon Prime, and their determination would guide every action. In the quiet moments, Mara allowed herself to grieve. She remembered families she had watched die, children screaming for their parents, and friends consumed by the alien fire. But grief transformed into strength. Humanity had faced extinction many times before and had always emerged stronger. This was another test, a test that Mara vowed they would pass. As the shuttles approached the nearest human fleet station, Mara felt a surge of determination. The station's hangar doors opened, welcoming the weary survivors. Scientists and engineers rushed to repair the damaged ships while military officers coordinated strategies. Mara briefed them on the aliens' tactics, their weaponry, and the horrifying speed of their attack. Every detail mattered. Every piece of information could be the key to humanity's victory. Mara's eyes scanned the assembled fleet, and she felt a mixture of pride and resolve. Humanity had faced countless dangers in the stars, but nothing had broken their spirit. Not famine, not disease, not alien threats. They endured. Now, with the memory of Epsilon Prime burned into their hearts, they would endure once more. "This is not the end," Mara told the gathered crew. Her voice echoed through the station. "It is the beginning. We will rise. We will strike back. And we will show the galaxy that humanity does not cower in fear. We do not surrender. We fight. Always." In that moment, the survivors, the fleet, and every human ready to defend their kind felt the truth of her words. The fire of revenge had begun to burn, a flame that would not be extinguished until justice was served. Humanity had been struck down, but humanity would strike back, with all the fire, all the courage, and all the determination that defined their species. The galaxy would soon witness the true power of humanity, and it would tremble. Humanity's fleet gathered in the outer rim of a distant star system. Ships of every size and shape filled the void, from small attack frigates to massive warships bristling with weapons. Every pilot, soldier, and crew member carried the memory of Epsilon Prime in their hearts. The pain of loss had become fuel for something far stronger: determination. Captain Mara Vey walked along the main deck of the lead warship, the Resolute. Her boots clicked against the metallic floor as she observed the bustling crew. Engineers repaired damaged vessels, recalibrating shields and weapons. Pilots ran simulations over holographic star maps, learning every potential maneuver. Soldiers trained relentlessly, preparing for the battles to come. The air was thick with anticipation, grief, and hope. Mara gathered the senior officers in the command room. Holograms displayed the alien ships they had seen at Epsilon Prime, sleek, angular, and deadly. "These aliens struck without warning," Mara said, her voice steady. They underestimated us. They think humans are easy prey. They are wrong. We will strike with everything we have, and we will show them that humanity cannot be erased." The officers nodded, their faces set with determination. They knew the task ahead would be dangerous, but they also knew it was necessary. Humanity's honor, survival, and future were on the line. Mara outlined a strategy, a coordinated assault using every ship, every weapon, and every advantage humanity could muster. They would not merely respond, they would dominate. Meanwhile, in the fleet's research labs, scientists analyzed the alien technology recovered from Epsilon Prime's few surviving drones. They discovered weaknesses in the alien energy shields and weapon frequency. Engineers worked tirelessly, developing new weapons and enhancing existing ones. Every innovation, every adaptation, was a step toward humanity's revenge. The crew's morale was a mix of solemnity and resolve. Many had lost friends and family, but they had also seen the courage of survivors and the determination of their leaders. Mara walked among them, speaking quietly to those who doubted them. "Elves, do not fear," she said. "We fight not just for survival but for justice. Every life we lost cries for our strength. Every human out there believes in us. We are not alone, we are humanity, and we will not fail." Night fell on. The fleet and the crew gathered in quiet reflection. Some prayed, some wrote messages to lost loved ones, and others simply stared at the stars, imagining the lives that had been taken too soon. Mara stood at the observation deck, looking out at the distant points of light. She felt the weight of responsibility but also the power of unity. Humanity was not just a species, it was a force, and together they could challenge anything the galaxy threw at them. As days passed, the fleet trained, repaired, and prepared. Mara oversaw simulations of alien attack patterns, coordinating maneuvers with the fleet's commanders. Every pilot learned to anticipate enemy strategies. Every gunner practiced precision strikes. Every soldier memorized tactics for boarding and disabling alien ships. The fleet was becoming more than just a defensive force. They were an unstoppable storm ready to strike at the heart of the invaders. Finally, Mara addressed the entire fleet. "Tomorrow we take the first step toward justice," she said, her voice carrying across comms to every vessel. "We honor the fallen by fighting with courage, skill, and heart. We will not falter. We will not retreat. Humanity rises, and the galaxy will remember us." A wave of determination swept through the fleet. Engineers tightened controls, pilots ran final checks, and soldiers readied themselves. The memories of Epsilon Prime, of laughter lost and families erased, filled every heart. And at the center of it all stood Mara Vey, unyielding, a symbol of human strength. The storm was ready to strike. Humanity had prepared, and soon the galaxy would feel the weight of its wrath. The fire of vengeance, born from grief and tempered by courage, would light the stars. The void of space was silent, but the tension was electric. Humanity's fleet, fully prepared and bristling with weapons, moved like a storm through the stars. Captain Mara Vey stood on the bridge of the Resolute, eyes fixed on the sensors that flickered with distant readings. Somewhere out there, the alien fleet waited, unaware of the fury that was about to strike. Every crew member knew the stakes. Pilots checked weapons, engines hummed, and soldiers ran through last-minute drills. The memory of Epsilon Prime burned in every heart, fueling a determination that could not be shaken. Mara walked among her officers, speaking quietly but firmly. "Remember what we fight for. Remember those we lost. Today, humanity shows its strength." Her words spread through the fleet like wildfire, igniting courage in every soul. As the alien ships appeared on the sensors, the fleet held its formation. The enemy moved with the precision of a single organism, their ships gleaming under distant starlight. Mara's jaw tightened. These were the same invaders who had destroyed Epsilon Prime. They believed humanity was weak. They were about to learn their grave mistake. The first shots rang out like thunder across the vacuum. Alien energy beams streaked toward human vessels, but this time, humanity was ready. Shields held strong, evasive maneuvers outpaced the attackers, and the newly enhanced weapons struck with precision. Explosions lit the darkness as the first alien ships were disabled, drifting like burning wrecks in the emptiness of space. Mara's heart raced. She gave orders with clarity and calm. Flank their left wing. Target the central command vessel. Do not let them regroup. Every command was executed flawlessly. The fleet moved as one, trained and determined. Humanity was no longer on the defensive. They were a force of reckoning. Despite their skill and preparation, the aliens fought fiercely. Their ships darted between stars with unnatural speed, striking where least expected. Several human vessels were damaged, and alarms blared across the bridge of the Resolute. Mara clenched her fists. She could not let fear take hold. Every loss was tragic, but retreat was not an option. Humanity could not be erased. Amid the chaos, Mara witnessed acts of bravery that filled her with pride. Young pilots, barely trained for combat, executed maneuvers that outsmarted the enemy. Soldiers aboard the larger ships boarded alien vessels, disabling weapons and taking control. Engineers worked tirelessly, repairing systems even under fire. Every human was a testament to courage and resilience. Hours passed, and the battle raged on, a storm of fire, metal, and determination. Mara's mind remained sharp, directing forces, anticipating enemy strategies, and coordinating attacks. She felt the weight of leadership but also the power of unity. Humanity fought not just for survival but for justice, for honor, and for every life lost on Epsilon Prime. Finally, the tide began to turn. Alien ships faltered under concentrated fire, their formations breaking. Humanity's fleet pressed forward, relentless, their weapons striking with precision and vengeance. Mara allowed herself a brief glance at the remaining alien vessels. Fear and arrogance had blinded them. They had underestimated humans once, and now they were paying the price. As the last of the enemy ships fled into the darkness, Mara exhaled deeply. The fleet was battered but victorious. Humanity had struck back, and the first wave of retribution was complete. The survivors of Epsilon Prime, and every human who had trained and fought for this moment, felt a surge of triumph and relief. Mara stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the stars. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Humanity had shown its power, but the galaxy was vast, and dangers still lurked. Yet, in this moment, hope burned brighter than ever. For the first time since Epsilon Prime fell, the survivors allowed themselves a small smile. Humanity had struck back, and the universe had witnessed the might of a species that refused to be erased. The remnants of the alien fleet fled into uncharted space, leaving behind a trail of destruction and fear. Humanity's fleet, though battered from the battle, pursued without hesitation. Captain Marave stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her eyes fixed on the sensor readings. Every blip was a reminder of the enemy's cowardice and the opportunity to avenge Epsilon Prime. The crew worked tirelessly, repairing damaged ships and recalibrating weapons while tracking the fleeing aliens. Mara walked among them, her presence a steady anchor. "We will not let them hide," she said firmly. "Every ship, every life they destroyed, we carry with us. Humanity does not forgive easily." Her words echoed through the fleet, igniting resolve in every heart. Inside the smaller shuttles, survivors of Epsilon Prime whispered stories of their lost homes and families. Their grief was raw, but it had transformed into purpose. Soldiers checked weapons again and again, pilots ran maneuvers, and engineers prepared specialized drones for boarding and sabotage. Every human aboard every ship felt the same burning determination. They would not stop until justice was served. Mara's tactical team studied alien movements. Their ships moved unpredictably, attempting to escape through asteroid fields and nebulae. But humanity's intelligence network was relentless. Every jump was anticipated, every strategy countered. Mara's mind worked like a machine, calculating angles, speeds, and the strengths of both fleets. Every decision mattered, Every second counted. During quiet moments, Mara allowed herself to remember Epsilon Prime. She pictured the children running across the fields, families laughing, and the city that had once stood proud and vibrant. Those memories fueled her fury and her courage. They cannot erase us, she whispered to herself. They cannot erase humanity. The fleet entered a dense nebula, the stars obscured by swirling clouds of gas. Visibility was low and the risk of ambush was high. Mara ordered the ships to maintain tight formations, weapons charged and shields at maximum. The tension was palpable. Every crew member knew that the enemy could strike at any moment. Yet they pressed forward, unwavering. Humanity was determined to finish what had begun. Finally, sensors detected the alien fleet, hiding among asteroids and using the nebula as cover. Mara's eyes narrowed. "Lock all weapons," she commanded. "Prepare for a coordinated strike. We hit together, we hit hard, and we take no prisoners." The fleet adjusted positions, moving silently through the gas clouds. Every ship waited for her signal, ready to unleash the full force of human ingenuity and firepower. Minutes felt like hours as they approached. Then Mara gave the order. Energy beams streaked through the nebula, striking alien vessels with deadly precision. Explosions shook the asteroid field, sending debris tumbling through space. Human ships maneuvered flawlessly, anticipating every counterattack. Mara's heart pounded not with fear but with fierce pride. Humanity was not just fighting. It was proving its strength, its courage, and its unbreakable spirit. As the battle unfolded, Mara saw acts of heroism that would be remembered for generations. Pilots risked their lives to protect others. Soldiers boarded alien vessels despite the dangers, and engineers repaired critical systems even under fire. Every human contributed, united by loss, grief, and the unshakable will to avenge their fallen. Hours later, the surviving alien ships attempted a desperate retreat. Mara's fleet pursued relentlessly, cutting off every escape route. Humanity had become a force the galaxy could not ignore, and at the heart of it all stood Mara, guiding her people with courage, intelligence, and unwavering determination. The hunt had begun, and there was no turning back. Humanity would continue, relentless and unstoppable until the aliens paid for every life they had destroyed. The memory of Epsilon Prime burned like a fire in every human heart, lighting the way toward vengeance, justice, and the promise that no threat could ever erase them. The alien fleet had no idea what awaited them. Captain Mara Vey's forces moved silently, encircling the enemy in a perfect formation. Every ship was primed, every weapon calibrated, and every crew member ready. The memory of Epsilon Prime burned bright in their hearts, driving them forward with relentless determination. Humanity was no longer reacting. They were taking control of the battle. On the bridge of the Resolute, Mara's hands hovered over the command console. Her eyes scanned the alien fleet, noting weaknesses discovered through hours of careful observation. "We've learned their tactics," she said quietly to her officers. "Now, we show them the price of underestimating humanity." The officers nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. Victory was within reach, but it required precision, courage, and unity. The first wave of attacks was surgical. Human energy beams cut through alien shields, disabling their weapons with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions lit the void like deadly fireworks, each one a message of revenge for the lives lost on Epsilon Prime. Pilots dove through the debris, dodging enemy fire while delivering devastating counterstrikes. Soldiers boarded enemy vessels, taking control with skill and courage, while engineers kept human ships functioning under pressure. Every move, every strike, was coordinated, deliberate, and unstoppable. Mara's voice echoed through the fleet. "Communications. Do not relent. For every life they took, we give tenfold. Humanity survives. Humanity fights. Humanity prevails." Her words resonated across the ships, igniting courage and focus in every crew member. Fear had no place here. Grief had transformed into action, and determination had become an unstoppable force. The alien leaders attempted to reorganize, but humanity's strategy was flawless. Every escape route was cut off, every counterattack anticipated. The aliens' arrogance was their undoing. They had assumed humans would panic, but humans had adapted, innovated, and risen above their losses. Mara watched as their fleet began to falter, their formations collapsing under the relentless assault. Amid the chaos, moments of human heroism shone brightly. Young pilots risked everything to save comrades. Soldiers boarded enemy vessels despite overwhelming odds, and engineers repaired critical systems even as explosions shook the ships. Each act was a testament to human resilience and courage, a reminder that humanity's strength was not just in weapons, but in hearts and minds united for a single purpose. Hours passed, and the alien fleet crumbled under the coordinated assault. One by one, ships were disabled or captured. Mara allowed herself a brief glance at the survivors of Epsilon Prime aboard her ship. Their faces were etched with grief, but also pride. Humanity had survived the impossible. Humanity had struck back. The loss they had suffered had been transformed into victory. Finally, the alien flagship, the command vessel that had overseen the destruction of Epsilon Prime, floated isolated in the void. Mara's fleet surrounded it, weapons aimed and ready. She gave the order. Energy beams fired, shields collapsed, and the ship was neutralized with minimal loss to humanity. The galaxy had witnessed the full force of human determination. No colony could be erased without consequence. No attack could go unanswered. As the alien ship surrendered or fled, Mara felt a surge of emotion. Grief, relief, and pride mingled together. Humanity had taken the first step toward justice, and the fire of vengeance had been fully realized. The survivors of Epsilon Prime and every human aboard the fleet knew that their species' courage and resolve were unmatched. Mara gazed out at the void, where the remnants of the alien fleet drifted like broken monuments. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "But humanity will always rise. We will protect our own, and the galaxy will never forget us." The words carried hope, defiance, and the promise of an unbreakable spirit. For the first time since the destruction of Epsilon Prime, the survivors allowed themselves to feel relief. Humanity had struck back, and it had struck with overwhelming firepower, skill, and heart. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Do not underestimate humanity. The alien fleet had been broken. Scattered ships drifted in the void, their weapons silenced, their arrogance shattered. Humanity's fleet hovered in formation, battered but unbowed, the Resolute at its center, a symbol of human courage and determination. Captain Mara Vey stood on the bridge, looking at the remnants of the enemy and feeling a mix of grief, relief, and pride. Epsilon Prime could never be brought back, but its memory had become the spark that ignited a human reckoning. The survivors of Epsilon Prime gathered on the fleet's decks. They stared at the stars where their home once shone, now empty and silent. Tears streamed down faces, but there was also a fierce glimmer in their eyes, a spark of hope that humanity would endure. Mara approached them, her voice steady and compassionate. "We honor what was lost," she said softly, "and we ensure that no other human colony will suffer the same fate. Humanity rises from its pain, stronger than before." In the following hours, the fleet secured the area, scanning for any remaining alien threats. Communications were sent across nearby systems, warning other species. Humanity would not tolerate attacks against its colonies. The galaxy for the first time understood the full measure of human resolve. Mara watched as her crew carried out these orders with precision and discipline. Every officer, every pilot, every soldier had become part of something greater, a living testament to the unbreakable spirit of humanity. As the fleet began its journey back to the nearest human stronghold, Mara reflected on the events that had brought them here. The loss of Epsilon Prime had been unimaginable. Families, friends, entire communities had vanished in a flash of alien fire. But the pain had transformed into something extraordinary. Humanity had united, adapted, and struck back with overwhelming firepower, not for conquest but for survival, justice, and honor. The survivors told stories of bravery, pilots who risked everything to protect comrades, soldiers who boarded enemy ships despite the danger, engineers who kept vital systems running under fire. These stories spread through the fleet, inspiring even those who had not witnessed the battles firsthand. Humanity's courage had become legend in real time, a shining example of what a united species could achieve when faced with impossible odds. Mara knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and threats would come again, but humanity had proven something essential. They would never bow to fear, never surrender to aggression, and never allow the innocent to be destroyed without consequence. Epsilon Prime's memory had become a symbol of resilience, a rallying cry for all humans to protect one another and defend what they had built among the stars. As the fleet approached the human stronghold, Mara allowed herself a quiet moment of reflection. She gazed out at the stars, imagining Epsilon Prime as it had been, lush, vibrant, full of life. She whispered a promise. "We will remember, we will rebuild, and we will never forget the cost of this victory." Around her, the fleet moved, as one, a living testament to human courage and ingenuity. Finally, as the first signs of human colonies appeared on the scanners, the survivors allowed themselves to breathe. They had avenged the fallen. They had shown the galaxy that humanity could not be erased. And though the wounds of Epsilon Prime would never fully heal, the future was now theirs to shape. Mara turned to her officers, her eyes burning with determination. "Humanity has faced death and destruction before, and we have risen. Today we prove again that we are unstoppable. Let every star know our name, let every world witness our courage, and let the galaxy remember this. When humanity is pushed to the edge, we rise, and we strike back." In the silent expanse of space, the fleet of humanity sailed onward, victorious, unbroken, and unbowed. The fire of Epsilon Prime, born from tragedy, had become the beacon of a species that refused to yield. Humanity had struck back, and the galaxy would never be the same.